It was a busy Friday afternoon, and the freshly renovated front of the Sunset Grand Hotel sparkled under the bright Los Angeles sun. Inside, everything, from the shiny floors to the elegant decor, reflected luxury and attention to detail. At the front desk stood Brenda, a receptionist with 2 years of experience, who acted like she had the power to decide who belonged in such a high-end place. At exactly 5:47 p.m., a well-dressed woman of color walked in through the glass doors. She wore a crisp navy pantsuit and rolled a designer suitcase behind her. Her heels clicked softly on the marble floor as she walked with quiet confidence. Her name was Vivian Sterling. She was the CEO of a major international real estate company, and unknown to Brenda, she had actually bought most of the hotel 3 months ago. "Good afternoon. I'm here to check in," Vivian said politely, already searching her phone for her ID and reservation. Brenda, barely glancing up, frowned and asked, "And what are you here for? Delivering food to someone?" Vivian raised an eyebrow, surprised but calm. "No," she replied. "I'm a guest. I have a reservation under Vivian Sterling." Brenda let out a dry laugh. "Vivian Sterling? Please, we don't get guests like that here. This is a 5-star hotel. We don't give out rooms without a proper credit card, and definitely not to people who don't seem trustworthy." That last word hit Vivian hard. Still, she stayed calm. "My reservation is right here," she said, holding out her phone. "And I have my ID. My driver dropped me off just 10 minutes ago." Brenda suddenly raised her voice to call for security. "This woman is pretending to be a guest. I've had enough. We don't allow threats or trouble here." 2 security guards rushed over. One grabbed Vivian's suitcase without saying a word, and the other pushed her by the shoulder, forcing her back toward the door. People in line started watching. A tourist even pulled out his phone to record. "I'm not a thief," Vivian said, her voice shaking slightly with frustration. "I want to speak to the manager." "The manager doesn't talk to people like you," Brenda said coldly, rubbing sanitizer into her hands. It felt like a scene from an old, ugly story. Vivian stood outside now, embarrassed, as one guard threw her suitcase onto the sidewalk like trash. Straightening her jacket, she calmly pulled out her phone and made a call. "Lena." "Yes." "Start the emergency protocol at the Sunset Grand." "I'm at the entrance." "Yes, it just happened. They kicked me out. Bring the team. It's time for the surprise audit." Brenda rolled her eyes and muttered under her breath. But 2 minutes later, 6 people stepped out of the main elevator, among them the general manager and the head of HR. They carried folders and looked serious. Brenda's smirk disappeared. Vivian didn't move. She folded her arms and looked straight at the general manager. "Good afternoon, Mr. Harrison. I came without warning, and clearly your team needs training on both hotel procedures and basic human respect. Let's begin with the security footage." Brenda's eyes widened. "Huh," she whispered. "I'm your boss," Vivian said calmly, "and I own 76% of this hotel." Mr. Harrison turned pale. The HR director looked at the floor. Brenda stuttered, "I didn't know. I thought." "You thought?" Vivian cut her off. "And you acted like your bias was a rule." She took a step forward. "Where's my suitcase?" And that was when the real humiliation began. Brenda rushed out to the sidewalk like someone in a panic. Vivian's expensive Samsonite suitcase was lying between a puddle and a ripped trash bag. Brenda grabbed it awkwardly, getting her hands dirty, and dragged it back as if it were just a heavy sack. "Here's your suitcase, Miss Sterling," she stammered, her voice shaking. "I didn't know. I never meant to offend you. It was all just a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Vivian cut in sharply as she slowly turned to face her. "You accused me of being a thief in front of everyone. You called security, had me pushed and my things thrown into the street. And now you're calling that a misunderstanding." Brenda's lips trembled. The confident receptionist from earlier was gone. Her hands were sweaty, her voice shaky. "I was just following procedure. The hotel has standards. And your standard is judging people by the color of their skin?" Vivian snapped, then turned to the general manager. "Mr. Harrison, I want those camera recordings pulled immediately. Everyone here needs to see exactly what just happened. We'll go over it in front of the entire staff." The HR director's face turned red as she stepped forward nervously. "Maybe we can talk about this privately, Ms. Sterling. No need to embarrass anyone." "Oh, but there is," Vivian said without hesitation, as more guests started whispering and recorded with their phones. "Because if this can happen to me, someone with a name and power, imagine what happens to others who can't defend themselves." One guest stepped forward, angry. "I saw everything. I've been recording since the beginning. This woman was treated like a criminal for no reason. It's disgusting. I'm posting this online." "No, please don't," Brenda cried, completely falling apart. "Please don't post that. I'll lose my job. I have children." Vivian was silent for a moment. Then she asked calmly, "And what would have happened to me if I wasn't who I am? Who would have stood up for me? Who would have believed me? Would you have apologized?" Brenda burst into tears. I grew up in a place where I was taught that people like..." Her voice trailed off, realizing she was making things worse with every word. "People like that?" Vivian raised an eyebrow, her eyes like steel. "Don't finish that sentence, Brenda. What you're saying now is worse than what you did." Just then, Lena, Vivian's lawyer, arrived carrying a black folder. "We got everything," she said. "Security footage, witness statements, and a preliminary report from the guest treatment audit. We're ready to take legal action whenever you decide." The air was thick with tension. You could hear a pin drop. Brenda collapsed to her knees, crying in front of everyone. "Please don't sue me. I'm begging you. I'm sorry." Vivian didn't flinch. "Get up," she said firmly. "You're not crying because you're sorry for what you did. You're crying because your comfort in treating people like trash is over." Then she turned to Mr. Harrison. "You have 24 hours to submit a complete plan to address racism among your staff. Otherwise, find another hotel to manage. And as of this moment, Brenda is suspended. Someone needs to explain to her what ethical responsibility actually means." "Yes, Miss Sterling," Mr. Harrison replied quietly, not meeting her eyes. Vivian turned to Lena. "Send a letter to all investors. I want them to know that in my hotels, no one will be shamed or mistreated for their skin color, accent, or background. This place is going to change, even if I have to rebuild it from the basement up." She picked up her suitcase, straightened her jacket, still marked with dirt, and walked toward the elevator. As the doors closed behind her, the lobby went completely silent. Brenda, still on the floor with mascara streaking down her cheeks, knew she had lost everything. Because of one thing, her racism. That night, the tourist video went viral across X, TikTok, and Instagram. The title read, "Black woman thrown out of hotel, then reveals she's the owner. Watch what happens next." Within 24 hours, the Sunset Grand Hotel became a trending topic. The internet exploded with comments. "She's a queen. This happens way too often." Finally, someone caught on camera. That receptionist should never work in hospitality again. Reservations were canceled. Influencers spoke out. BBC and The Guardian requested interviews. But Vivian stayed silent until 3 days later, when she posted on LinkedIn, "I didn't offend myself because I'm powerful. I defended myself because I'm tired. I'm Vivian Sterling, a black woman, a hotel owner, the daughter of a schoolteacher and a street vendor. And I was treated like a criminal in my own hotel. If I didn't have this name or title, I might have been arrested or silenced. Racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind company policy." Brenda wasn't fired. Instead, she was placed in the hotel's new guest treatment reform program. She was asked to speak about her experience, not to defend her actions, but to take responsibility and learn from them. "Racism isn't fixed by punishment alone," Vivian wrote. "It takes truth and change led by those in power who choose to build, not break." Weeks later, Brenda returned to speak to new employees. Her hands shook. Her eyes were filled with tears. "I wasn't racist because I was cruel," she said. "I just believed I was better. That kind of thinking can be taught and it can be unlearned." At the back of the room, Vivian watched silently and nodded Real change, she knew, doesn't come from viral moments. It comes when power is used, not to destroy, but to uplift